At 15, everyone laughed at him, for his accent, for his poverty, for coming from some island nobody had heard of. 20 years later, all of Europe would rise at the sound of his name. And 15 years after that, he would die in a cage the size of an island, forgotten by everyone except a doctor who believed he was being poisoned. This is a story about how high a man can climb and how far he can fall. Let's go. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on Corsica in 1769, an island France had bought from Genoa just a year before his birth. A poor, noble family, a heavy Italian accent, zero connections in Paris. At the military school in Brienne, they mocked him as a provincial. His only pastimes were stubbornness and military treatises, which he read while the others partied. 1789 breaks everything. The revolution tears down a system where rank was inherited by birth. Now talent decides, and chaos. For a penniless Corsican officer, this is a chance no king would ever have given him. During the siege of Toulon, a young artillery captain proposes an unconventional plan of attack, and it works. At 24, Bonaparte becomes a brigadier general. For comparison, most of his peers at that age are still lieutenants. 1796. Napoleon is given the battered, half-starved army of Italy, an assignment considered secondary. Within a year, he crushes superior Austrian forces in a series of brilliant maneuvers. His soldiers start calling him the Little Corporal, with adoration, not mockery. The Egyptian campaign is a near-military disaster. Nelson's fleet burns the French squadron at Aboukir, but Napoleon returns to France a hero. Press and rumor work better than any victory. Meanwhile, the Directory government finally loses the people's trust. November 1799. Napoleon leads a coup d'etat and becomes First Consul of France, officially one of three. In reality, sole ruler. December 2nd, 1804. Notre Dame Cathedral. In front of the Pope, Napoleon takes the crown from his hands and crowns himself. A gesture that says everything. He owes his power to no one. The boy from the island they laughed at has become Emperor of the French. By the way, at this very moment, the composer Beethoven, who had dedicated his Third Symphony to Napoleon as a hero of liberty, furiously scratches his name off the title page. To some, he's a liberator. To others, a traitor to the revolution who just put on a crown. By 1810, nearly all of continental Europe is under his control, directly or through allies. But in 1812, Napoleon makes the move that breaks everything. The invasion of Russia. 600,000 soldiers march in. Fewer than 100,000 march out, not destroyed in a single battle, ground down by hunger, frost, and supply lines stretched across thousands of kilometers. June 18th, 1815. Just 100 days after his triumphant return from his first exile, Napoleon suffers his final defeat at Waterloo. An empire that once seemed unbreakable ends in a single rainy day. The man who crowned himself is sent somewhere he can never escape. The island of St. Helena in the middle of the Atlantic, nearly 1,900 kilometers from the nearest continent. 5 years later, on May 5th, 1821, he dies at the age of 51. The official cause is stomach cancer, but even today, some historians believe he was slowly poisoned with arsenic. His body has been examined, exhumed, studied again. 2 centuries later, there's still no definitive answer. The boy from the island the whole academy laughed at, the emperor who crowned himself, the man whose army was buried in the Russian snow, who died a prisoner on a rock in the middle of the ocean. So what do you think? Was he a genius who changed the course of history, or a tyrant who just got lucky with his era? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Until next time.